So what do Prime, Feastables, and Joyride all have in common? Well, they're all creator-led brands doing millions in revenue, created and led by founders who have millions of followers who use their virality in order to win. But they're also examples of old and broken models of how creators take products to market, because it's a model completely dependent on you having a massive follower base and personal scale. If you don't have that, it won't work, because to make it work, you have to dumb down your product to a CPG or a consumer packaged good, often like candy or energy drinks, just so it's easy enough for a large generic audience to understand it. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with CPGs. They're cheap, they're fast, and they scale incredibly well. But they're basic, and to launch one, it's pretty unobtainable for anybody who doesn't have millions of followers. And that's the old model, but we're entering a new era of creator-led brands. And in this new model, you don't need millions of followers. You can have a minor, highly targeted following and still make hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. But if you're building something unique, something premium, something really special, you don't necessarily have the massive audience to go after it. You can't just brute force it. And it all comes down to product strategy and launch strategy. This idea is central to this new era of creators, and it's called the long tail. Basically, what it means is that there are initial few products that sell a whole bunch, but really 50, 60, 70% of the market come from these really, really niche products that don't really get a lot of sales, but because they are so niche, they can charge niche prices and are a lot more profitable than CPG mainstream products. And so I'm going to teach you guys how I learned this concept is through salt. If you're not familiar with Morton's salt, they're in almost every grocery store, and they charge $4.38 for 52 ounces, which is 8 cents per ounce. And in order to make $100,000 with this, you need to sell 1,250,000 ounces of salt, which is crazy. And on the right, we have what is called a specialty salt. I actually saw this for the first time at a farmer's market. I was walking around and there was a little thing of salt. They charged $60 for it. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. This is something I found on Amazon. It was $40 for 0.63 ounces of salt. Not 6.3 ounces, 0.63. So not even an ounce, right? That is $64.47 per ounce. And so to do the math, to make $100,000, you need to sell 1,551 ounces of salt, which is almost 1,000 times less salt. And so this is what I'm saying when I talk about the long tail, is you do have these products that are flagships, right? They sell hundreds of thousands of units, but they aren't nearly as profitable as something that's really, really niche. This is something I saw online. It's the old model of how creators do launches. And so it goes through 4 phases: hype building, it's live, education, and urgency. And the more I thought about it, the more I actually disagreed, because this falls apart for any product that is not a CPG. So things that are hypervisual, like jewelry, clothing, things that are luxury or require really high education, niche products like gaming, supplements, and wellness, right? These fall apart because it's all about building hype, teasing it, not revealing what it is, and then going live to millions of people, telling them to buy, and then afterwards starting to educate them and then build urgency. And that doesn't work if you're selling any of these other categories. This model only works for products that are heavily commoditized, like CPGs. And it only works at scale. And so if you're thinking about launching a product, you need to think about, well, what do actually people want? And they want to feel special. If they're part of your audience, they want to feel like they're a part of something. This is why brands exist, because people say, hey, I really like what this brand stands for. I want to stand behind it. This brand aligns with my own personal values. I want to align with it. And so if you are a founder, you need to be talking about your values, because people won't identify with your brand if your values aren't clear. But then you ask, well, how do I make them feel special? Well, you need to build something that your audience really wants. And so I wanted to give another example, which is between Kim Kardashian and Skims and Meg Squats. And so Kim Kardashian, obviously, huge, one of the biggest creators on Instagram. In 2025, they did $556 million in revenue with her 345 million followers. But meanwhile, Meg Squats has a hyper niche product. And so her following is much less, 500,000. She produces content mainly for women trying to stay in shape after they become mothers. And so it's much more targeted. And so even off of her 500,000 followers, which is almost 1/1000th smaller than Kim Kardashian, she still had $3 million in revenue as a founder because she had such a unique product. She wasn't selling bras to everybody. She was selling a fitness program designed specifically for busy moms, and it worked, and her audience loved it. And this brings us to what is called the 16 basic desires theory. And if you're not aware of this, and it's saying that there's only 16 things that people want, and it's acceptance, curiosity, etc. I won't read it off to you. You can take a screenshot. But the fact is that as you think about your audience, you need to think about what is it on this list that they really care about? What does your content reflect? And where can you mesh that to build a product that really matters to your audience? And finally, you have to ask, how do I launch? Because if you don't have, 345 million followers, you have to launch very effectively and very strategically. Instead of this old model of 4 phases, I'd like to propose a new one of 5 phases, which I use for my clients and is what I see some of the creators who are quite small, but who are absolutely killing it, right? And so the first phase is you're building hype. And it's this traditional like, hey, I'm working on something really big. But you need to have this second phase of promoting where you show what you're working on. If it's clothing, you talk about why you built it. You talk about what it's for and who it's for. If you're making an app for busy moms, this is what you're talking about here. You also want to demonstrate it. You release it to a small group. And this becomes your core founding group. They become your UGC, your testimonials, so that you can then send it and say, hey, this is proof of concept that it really works for my audience. Then you'll go live and you'll drop with maximum noise, tell people about it, and continue to build trust. Continue to educate your people about it. This is almost a re-education, and it's more like social proof part 2, as opposed to, hey, we're going to talk about this product for the first time. And finally, you continue to push people to buy who are still on the fence. You come back to it in your content and you continue to grow. If you are a creator thinking about how to launch and how to grow, this is what you need to do. Think about what does your audience care about, and then start to design how to launch. And hey, really quick, if you're a creator who already has a brand and you want to grow and you want to scale, my name is Nathan. I run Hoshino Media, and we help creators monetize their audience at scale. And so if that's at all interesting to you, you can click the link below, book a call with me and my team. So this is the concept of the long tail business model and how it's going to play out for creators. And I truly believe that in 2026 and moving forward, anybody who understands this is going to win massively. Because we can't all be creators that have millions and millions of followers. And that's okay. Because while 30 to 40% of all sales will go to the biggest creators at the top, 60 to 70% will go to all the other ones who understand how the long tail works and how to build unique niche products for their audience. The better you understand this concept, the better crafted of a product you have that serves the needs of your audience, the more you're going to make and the more you're going to win. So, hope this is helpful. Get out there and either build a brand worth owning or continue to do so. Peace.